Well, first of all, thank you, Murray and President Nancy, for that introduction. Our purpose in coming today is several things. One, to introduce you all to County Kids of Steel and give you some background information. To thank you all for your $1,000 donation that was given sight unseen, which we greatly appreciate. And to see if we can inspire you to become a volunteer for the County Kids of Steel Race Day. Oh, yeah, I have to move that, right. It buzzed, but it didn't move. Oh, okay. Our mission with County Kids of Steel is a community-driven triathlon that's dedicated to inspiring youth to lead healthy, active lives, to foster fitness, perseverance, and fun through sports while promoting healthy development and a local family engagement. We believe empowering kids of all abilities to challenge themselves will help build lifelong habits of wellness and strengthen our community connections. Okay. History of Kids of Steel. The race was developed after what does the BYST stand for?
So the Belleville Youth Swim Team.
Belleville Youth Swim Team ran the event in 2006 for the first time here because PFAC was the one that had the pool and they couldn't get a pool in Belleville. Local sports enthusiasts were so thrilled with the event that they decided to step up to the plate and become co-race directors, rebranded as County Kids of Steel, and the inaugural one happened in June of 2007. It ran successfully every year until the final race in 2019, just before COVID, and then it's been on a hiatus ever since. It's always been hosted at the Prince Edward Fitness and Aquatics Center, PFAC, and is run entirely by a dedicated team of volunteers. Over there, good. We have 7 age groupings. We have the smallest one starting age 3 to 5. And right now, that's our biggest grouping of members that have signed up, participants that have signed up so far. So there's a lot of young families and a lot of young kids, and it's just super to see them all coming out in the county. We're calling them the Mighty Minis, and they do a one width of the pool swim. They do a 150-meter bike run and 250 physical run meters. The swim, they're allowed to wear life jackets, water wings, flutter boards, parents, whatever can help them get across to feel successful and obviously not drown. The bikes can be done with tricycle, training wheels, balance bike, or just if you're like our grandson Odin, 4-year-old who zooms around on a 2-wheel bike and you'd think he'd been riding it since forever. And run obviously is just a run. The 6 and 7-year-olds have a little bit longer distance to go. And they then, the mini kids, we keep them just on the PFAC property. We don't put them on roads or anywhere, just very, very tight control on those little guys. The 6 to 7-year-olds up to the 17-year-olds they actually follow a different route and they will be going across, the run will actually take place fully on the Millennium Trail this year. In the past, it's been on 33, and down around the LCBO and up Sandy Hook Road. But there was some safety concerns brought to our attention from the other races, and we just thought, let's just see if we can address this and make it a little bit safer so that everybody is happy with it. So the 6 to 7-year-olds do a 25-meter swim, which is the length of the pool, a 1.5-kilometer bike run, and 500-meter run. 8 to 9-year-olds are 50 meters, 5K bike, and a 1K run. 10 to 11s, 100 meters, 5K, and a 1.5-kilometer run. And the last 3 age groups are 12 to 13, 14, 15, and 16 and 17. And they have a 10K bike, 2 to 300-meter swim, and 3K run. Now, the swim course, as I mentioned, is in the pool. And the little kids go sideways, the other kids go lengthwise. As you can see from the next picture, it's a very active pool when we get all the volunteers that have to be, we've got 5 lifeguards. I think it's 12 or 15 volunteers that need to be in the pool at all times because we need to make sure that there's nothing happening, plus all the kids that are in each of the rounds. So we only put each age group in the pool one at a time, like the 3 to 5-year-olds are just in the pool. Once they're all clear, the next group goes in so that there isn't a mixture of fast swimmers and slow swimmers. Then they leave the back of the swim club and they run to the back door through over to the transition zone. They're not having fun at all, as you can tell. The transition zone is where we have about 250 plus, depending on how many participants we get, but we're expecting 250 to 300. And this is where all the bikes are kept. It's a bit of a chaotic spot and also needs a lot of volunteer supervision to help the kids get, out of their not out of the bathing suit, but into the dry clothes, shoes, whatever they need. Bib goes on so they can keep track of their number, and then and the helmet. And then off they go for the bike race, which, as I mentioned, is all on the Millennium Trail this year. And we can see all different ages there. You'll also see all different weather. Unfortunately, most of these pictures, it looks like it never is sunny on the day. So we're really hoping it's going to be sunny this year, but it goes on rain or shine. I think I covered that. And then after the bike, they go back to the transition zone. They peel off their helmets and and then can go to the next slide. Then onto the run course. And the run course this year is going to go out Cold Storage Road along 33, around the LCBO, depending on the length that the kids run. But all the running will take place on the side of the road. And then for the longer ones, they'll circle around the LCBO, go up to the Agrarian and get back onto the Millennium Trail and back to PFAC that way. So they'll do a loop that way while the bikes go out to Bloomfield and back, or various links going out that way. Yes, and as you can see, yes, no sunshine, but and then, of course, we have the celebrating success, which wouldn't happen without the race. And everybody gets a participation medal. We give placements to first, second, and third girls and boys in each of the categories, except for the Mighty Minis. They're just happy to get the participation medal. And and the snack. Yes, they really like the snack. And of course, we couldn't put this on without our volunteers, of which we are looking for about 100. As of now, we have about 30. And one of the reasons for speaking to you today was to see whether anybody would be interested in coming and helping with that. It's June the 8th, which is a Sunday, and it is from about 7 and volunteers are needed from 7 in the morning till about 1. And maybe a little bit later, depending on how much cleanup we have. There is a need for the Saturday as well for some volunteers. We'll do pre-registration the registration's all done online, but you still have to come and sign the waiver manually for PFAC, and there's things that have to get done with registration desk. So that'll happen on Saturday night for those that can come early, and then Sunday morning from 7 till about 8:30. And then the race will kick off with the Mighty Minis doing it first, and then we'll do the oldest age group next because they have the longest run, and then we'll work backwards, and that way we can collapse all of the race zones down as the morning progresses. I'll pass it over to Laura now, and she can talk about the volunteer role.
So I first got involved with this because back in 2019, I actually I volunteered just helping out on the run, and I just saw how amazing this event is. The kids literally give it their all, and the community around them, and it is just such a fun atmosphere to be a part of. So as Lori said, obviously with COVID, it kind of got sidelined and didn't come back, and then few of us that play soccer together were talking about how great it would be to bring the kids of Steel back. And I think, like most things in a small community, if you want them to come back, you've kind of got to do it yourself. So that's why we sort of got together. And because we're moms and don't have enough going on, we thought, let's add this to the plate. Um, but yeah, so the volunteer, in terms of volunteers, Lori was sort of mentioning that there are some jobs that need to happen on the Friday in terms of setup and getting kind of like the race kits together, which are just envelopes that have sort of some of the key pieces that each racer will need. So there's a few things that can happen either the Friday or the Saturday beforehand. On the day, the registration, so there'll be a registration table, so we'll need help with handing out registration packs. You may have seen some from the photos that the kids are what we call body marked, so they have their numbers written on them. So all that sort of stuff happens at the registration table. We'll have 3 aid stations, 2 which will be on site at PFAC, but that again will be kind of setting up water. If anybody's ever volunteered for the marathon, very similar setup with tables of water. There will be another aid station out on the run course, but as Lori mentioned, that run is just going to be happening down kind of Loyalist Parkway as it turns into Main. So it's just going to be set up on Main Street. We need help on the water stations, timing chips. So we are bringing in a proper timing company. So the older age groups will have a timing chip on their ankle. So at the end of the race, once they've come across the finish line, just help getting those off and giving them back to making sure that they get handed back into the timing company. So kind of a finish line committee is also needed. A lot of as we joked, it's all about food for the kids a lot of the time too. So we're trying to make sure that there's enough snacks and nutrition available for kids. So there would be a need for volunteers helping with preparing some of that either probably on the Saturday before. But again, in that finish line area, we want to make sure that there's enough food and snacks there available for the participants, but also want to make sure our volunteers are fed. We have reached out to the firefighters to see if they'll give us a hand working the barbecue. So that might be another thing which we might need a couple of extra sets of hands with. And then just generally marshals around the course. So in the pool, again, you would have seen the photos where there's what we call like lap counters, so making sure that the kids are doing the right amount of laps that they're supposed to be doing, making sure once they're out of the pool, they know which way they're going. Once they get into the what we call the transition zone, grabbing their bike, we have volunteers set up along that bike course. Very much because this race is going to be sanctioned by Triathlon Ontario, they're very, very big on safety. They're also giving us the insurance, so there's also a requirement along the run and the bike course that we have any entry point where a car or somebody could come onto the course, that there's a volunteer set up there, just making sure that they're aware that there's an event in progress. So lots of hands are needed. That was also our thinking behind moving the bike to the trail because there's just a lot less traffic and a lot less can go wrong, hopefully. So yeah, marshals, lap counters, and then just the general setup and takedown. There's a lot of fencing and porta potties and all of the things that need to happen to make kind of our race headquarters get set up around PFAC. Lifeguards is a really big one. We have connected with the Quinny Wellness Center in Belleville, so they're helping us find some volunteers, but we do need 5 lifeguards. We originally started looking at volunteers, but now we're kind of at the point where we're just willing to pay for lifeguards because they seem to be hard to come by. So if anybody has any connections or certifications themselves, that would be great to know. And I'm sure as we continue down the organization of this, there'll be lots of other little tasks that come up. So those are the types of roles that you would be helping out with. And I think, as Lori said, the time too, generally on the race day, it's 7 a.m., but we're also open to whatever amount of hours you are able to give us. I think that was. So maybe just at the end, we can pull that slide back up. And if people want, I see a few people already taking a photo of that. So that's great. Okay. So far we've had really great response from the community, really nice buzz that the event's coming back. So some of the original sponsors that used to sponsor it back in 2019 have come back on board, and also some new ones. There's obviously lots of new businesses coming to the county. We've got a neat partnership with the Children's Foundation. So they're actually helping cover the registration for any families that that might be a barrier for. So that's been a really nice thing to set up that we're really happy about. And and obviously Picton, you guys Picton Rotary, very grateful for that sponsorship. So we are continuing to look for sponsors. If anybody is interested or wants to chat further about that, we're here. That's it. So finally, I'm going to read this verbatim just because I think it kind of sums it up, why we want to do this. A youth triathlon provides much more than just an athletic challenge. It offers a holistic development opportunity that promotes physical health, emotional resilience, leadership skills, and community involvement. This event nurtures qualities such as determination, self-discipline, and teamwork, which are invaluable throughout life. By offering these benefits, a youth triathlon not only helps children build their physical fitness, but also provides them with the tools for success in their personal and professional futures. Thank you. Want to mention this? I guess those are just general notes.
Yeah, they're just general.
Okay.
Yeah. We're open to questions if you'd like.